This is Box Score Sports. I'm your host, Austin Berge. To the right of me, Lance Rademacher. Behind the computer, Walker Winter. We have a special guest, Mr. Funk, the head softball coach, third year.
Yep.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Look forward to watching your show. Well, it was every week. It's been a while now.
We've had some technical difficulties.
Yeah,
That
sound.
was 2 of the weeks. The sound was messed up. So,
We got Cody on it.
yeah.
So how did last season go and the year before?
Last year, it was a fun year. At our team banquet, I said it was a season to remember. First time for me coaching softball. Went 2-19, 2-18, one of the 2 records. And then last year, 1 year makes a big difference. And then we went up going 12-13. Won a couple games in the playoffs. I had a nice dramatic win over Bold. And yeah, last year was a fun year. Hope the girls really enjoyed it. I enjoy coaching these girls every single day. But last year, I told my girls I want them to remember the feeling last year. It's going from an extra 10 wins to the season before. It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do with all the hard work that they were willing to put in.
How do you guys build on that season?
Just staying mentally prepped and ready to go for every rep, every drill, every situation, you name it. We just need to make sure that we stay in with the moment, giving your all out best effort. Just rely on your other teammates. The other teammates are going to make you better than they were before. And that's exactly what we need to continue doing this year. And we have a great group of girls that came back this year. So
Yeah.
it should be a good
You
season.
guys are pretty experienced, aren't you? Or you got a lot.
Well, very experienced. Our junior class, for example, they've been playing varsity since seventh grade.
Yeah.
So my first year coming here a couple years ago, 2 years, they're already considered veterans. Well, now 2 years later,
Yeah.
the juniors, they've seen it all. They know the ups and downs, what it takes. They know how hard you need to work to be successful. And last year was a nice definition of that.
Yeah.
What's this season look like?
This season, we still got a young team. We've got a couple seniors and Taylor Shelton, who takes the third base, and then we have Arlie Tenson. And then our junior class, we have a good amount of girls in the junior class, and otherwise we've got a couple ninth graders that are going to be getting some varsity time, some sophomores that are going to be getting their first time playing varsity. It'll be a time where we need to rely, our juniors and seniors need to step up as leaders if we want to see any sort of success this year.
How do you get them younger girls prepared for their first game?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's all, obviously number one answer is it's all on us coaches, making sure that they are focused and dialed in on the fundamentals and just taking it one thing at a time. This is my motto since I've started coaching, even going back to my days at Lakeview. Everyone makes mistakes, and I don't want these girls to be afraid of making mistakes, because the only way you make mistakes is by failure. And you learn from failure, you get better from that. So I don't want them to feel like that, if I make a mistake, am I going to get benched? Am I going to lose playing time? As long as you just give me your absolute best effort,
Yeah.
that's all I can ask for.
Yeah. Is that like starting practice? You prepare them, or like you kind of get them ready, get their mindsets and whatever?
Absolutely. And then going back to my first year, I've always said, if you make a mistake, get back in that, taking ground balls. Hit your ground ball, make an error, hop back in there until you're successful. And I think the junior class and the senior class do a really good job of making sure that these girls are coming into the varsity practices. They actually know, nope, that's how we run things here. And especially now we have some 8th graders that are practicing with us because we need some 8th graders to do a JV team. So it's even better, too. 8th graders are able to experience this at an earlier time than these current freshmen and sophomores.
Kind of get them prepared for the future when they're on the varsity field.
Absolutely, because once these juniors graduate, that's a big hole that we need to fill. We need to get them ready, too.
Yeah, for sure.
How do your older girls or leaders help the team overall, chemistry and everything?
You gotta rely on those older girls. You know, as coaches, we can only do so much. And what's nice about this year's crew of juniors and seniors is they know everything that we do for practices, drills, and now when we are meeting with my assistant coach, Boyce Fisher, we agreed that let's give some responsibility to our. Well, this is the first week right now. Let's give some responsibility to our juniors in terms of let's have them run a drill. Let's give them the leadership role that we want them to have by the time they're seniors, and they can see how these girls are able to react and see what leadership a good quality leader, let's put it that way, good quality leader brings to a team. So we did that from practice on Tuesday. It worked out great because we have 3 coaches. That way, one coach can work with outfield, infield, hitting, and then we can rely on our leaders
Yep.
to work with our infield, especially with how experienced we are in the infield with Ken Eliezer, Casey Fisher, and Bree Rademacher. They've had all these years of working with the infield. They know what to do. They know the whole concept. So it's nice to lean on those girls to run practices when us coaches want to do other responsibilities.
Yep.
How has your past 2 years, and you coached before that a little bit, how has that helped you now prepare you being a better coach?
Like changes you've made throughout those years, like how you've changed things, I should say.
Sure. Well, from coming from a baseball background my entire life and being able to coach for 2 years at Lakeview and then coming to a different sport in softball, just the way that each year I'm still learning how to manage practices, how to come up with an efficient practice plan. And right now I've got 2 phenomenal coaches that are on my staff that help me prep for practice, what we can do better on, this and that. Boyce Fisher, Eric Primus. This week, a lot of communication on how we can do practice a little bit better, how we keep it more efficient. I've got probably 2 of the greatest coaches on my staff, and they help me a lot. You have Eric Primus, varsity head coach experience. Boyce Fisher has been with this program for a long time, dealing with the assistant coach. And so they were able to help me out to make that transfer from baseball to softball. So big credit goes out to those 2. But I would say what surprises, I would say how much more you can do on the bases in softball. Instead of working with 90 feet, you're dealing with 60 feet. We try to be as ultra aggressive on the base paths as possible. And last year, that was our big reason why I think we won a lot of games last year, is how aggressive we were on the bases. So I would say I'm still figuring out how to be a better coach each and every year. And that's just about practice plans, better communication, not only with the players, but the parents as well. That's something that I'm still striving to be better at. But I would say those are the 2 things I've learned within the last couple of years and going back to my days at Lakeview.
Was it hard to switch from baseball to softball at all?
I would say yes and no. One, it's the same concept. Hit the ball, pitch the ball, throw strikes, get as many runs on the board. But the biggest difference is the pitching. You grew up all your life playing baseball. You know the whole fundamentals of pitching. But then you go to softball, they got to go underhand.
Opposite,
Yep, exactly. You got to go underhand. So now you have to start watching videos on what fundamentals they should be doing. And luckily enough that I'm coming into a program where the parents are so supportive and they actually know how to do the quality pitches, especially at the youth level. Our coaches know how to do the pitching. So I would say just pitching is the biggest thing. It was probably the most difficult transfer that I had to do. But each year I feel like I am getting better at that. And at least I hope I am.
Yeah.
What do you think about like the difference? Obviously, there's a pitch count in high school baseball, and softball there's no pitch count. You can just kind of
You can ride them all
Yeah.
you want. No, it's I was able to do it that pitch count for 2 years at Lakeview. Definitely, you have to be more strategic
Yeah.
in who you start and when you start them. Talking with Klopok, with all this baseball stuff, first round of playoffs, you're a higher seed. What do you usually do? You maybe go with your ace, or do you save your ace for the second round? You start learning these new things. But with softball, it's there's no pitch count, which is phenomenal. But I also don't want to get too comfortable in the habit
just
of riding one player the entire time. Just one, I'm worried about their arm care. And I know going underhand, it's a natural motion, but that still
it's still a
that still
lot on your
concerns me.
shoulder. Yeah.
Shoulder, you can even have Tommy John too, believe it or not. And then number two, it's just you're losing development for your future.
That too. Yeah.
So
You're just one person's doing everything. They're like, well, I don't even have to pitch then.
right, and don't get me wrong, it's really nice when you can have one pitcher that does that.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
we all, at the same time, I think it's crucial that we think about the future and not just take away reps from other pitchers.
Yeah.
So, like for example, too, we got a young up and coming star pitcher in Lydia Primus, 9th grader. She's going to be getting some innings this year as a 9th grader. But I don't want to, ride Maya Worms, for example, is our number one pitcher, and she did a phenomenal job for us last year. And without her work ethic, I don't know what she would be like if she wasn't the pitcher she is right now.
Yeah.
But we do need to get Lydia ready too, because there's no eligibility in high school. In high school, unlike college, you need to start developing pitchers or position players, but specifically for pitching wise, get them going. That's just what my take is on it.
Smart. How have you prepared going into this season?
Trying to be more energetic in practice. This year, the last 2 years, we've had a team motto that I want not only the girls to follow, but it's also my responsibility to maintain that motto as well, since it's my idea to do these team mottos. Last year was every rep matters. This year it's hustle, hit, never quit. My freshman girls actually came up with that, so big shout out to those freshman girls. But if that's gonna be our team motto, I have to show them that I'm willing to put in all the energy to see you all successful. And I'm a big believer in skill doesn't always win you games. It's about the hustle, effort, and energy level that you bring. Skill can go a long ways, but it's so crazy how the energy level, if it's not there, it can deplete the whole team in general.
Yeah.
So I'm making sure these last 3 practices that I've been showing the girls, hey, I'm here for the long haul. I'm bringing the energy. Let's see if you can match it, even though I get sometimes carried away with the energy, I'm not going to lie. But I want them to know that this is the type of coach I am. I'm always going to be that way, and I cannot wait to go to battle with these players. And I got an awesome crew, like I said.
Yeah. If they see if you're bought in, then they want to buy into, and they just.
Well, right. You always preach them to these girls, but hey, be loud, be energetic. Well, how can they do that if the head coach isn't doing that as well?
Lead by example.
Lead by example. Exactly. That's what we're hoping our juniors and seniors can do for these younger girls. Lead by example.
What's your section and schedule looking like? Hard, easy?
We've got a decently difficult schedule. Not difficult schedule, a difficult section. On the other side of the section, you have RTR, who was a state team, and they did a phenomenal job going to state. And then on our side, it seems like it's always been La Capara. We've met La Capara. We've met YME my first year. But our section, it can be difficult, but it's a section that we can compete in. And I know we can. And based off of the past experiences that I've had before I came to BBE, they were having success in these sections. So it doesn't matter if we think the section is easy or hard. I do think that our team will be ready to go to battle against these section teams. And it does suck that we don't get to see these section teams very often, I'm trying to think. We have McRae, who's a section team, which is who we have our first game against this year. McRae, we have Benson. I'm pretty sure if I looked at the schedule, those are the only two section teams. Other section teams are down south near Marshall, so we don't get to see them very often. But that's always a nice surprise that way we play them once, or do we get to play them twice?
Yeah.
So,
What are yours and the team's goals this year?
well, I think every year, every goal is different. I mean, I think obviously number one goal is, to make it to state. I mean, that's always the number one goal.
Win
Right.
state.
Win state. Go to state, win state.
That's all
And I do think that we have the team and potential to do that. And I'm not just saying that to be biased. I actually do think that the team that we have back this year has a lot of experience. And I think that the effort that they've brought these last three practices, which has been unbelievable, and I've told them that, if they keep up this effort, I believe that we can make a real run at state. But I would say just try goals for the season. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in playoffs, but I would like to have them be 1% better than they were the day before. It's hard to set an actual season goal. Obviously, making the state, like I said, having success in playoffs, but I think the goal is to try to be a better version of yourself. Each practice, each game, learn from the mistakes that you brought, go from there. So I think that's a good goal that we should be setting for our team.
Kind of just build every day.
Build every day. Don't be satisfied with the player you are right now. If you had a successful season last year, softball is a weird sport where, if things aren't clicking, it can take you out, unfortunately, mentally.
Yeah.
So we need to continue to think one game at a time. And I know it's cliche, but it's actually true.
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
Well, good luck this year. We'll be watching.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Good
you.
luck in your baseball season as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on.